back to the Fox Body Phantom channel. I'm gonna have a little bit of fun with this video today. I did a video on cars under $10,000 that did pretty well on the channel. I love doing the buying guides. I think it's a whole lot of fun. We're coming up to the end of the year. As far as the winter goes, we're gonna get into spring soon. We're about a month out of me taking my car to storage. I know a lot of folks are in the same boat. A lot of cars come out in April. So I thought I'd take a few minutes today and walk through 10 great cars that you can buy for under $20,000 or right at $20,000. More classic cars. I try to stay 25 plus years older. I did 100%. There's nothing newer than 25 years old on here. Actually, there's nothing newer than close to 30 years old on here. So we'll have a lot of fun with it. We're going to go through 10 cars. Now, here's the deal. When you're thinking about this price point, you may not get the most desirable version of the car that you're looking for. You're probably not going to get an SS. You're not going to get like an RT version if you're getting a Chrysler. But you are going to get a really cool car, something that's a little bit different, something you can have some fun with at a local car show or Cars and Coffee. Just get out and enjoy and drive the car. I know for me, I'm looking for something right now for that $10,000 to $15,000 range that I can drive a little more than my Fox Body, because my Fox Body has a low mileage and that's where the value is. So I'm trying to find something fun myself. So I've been doing a lot of research. I figured I'd share it with you. You guys seem to like these videos. So thanks for checking us out. Hit that like and subscribe, and let's jump right into the video. Our number 10 car on the list is going to be the 1972 to 1976 Ford Thunderbird / Mercury Cougar, and then you get into the XR7 variants and all the different versions that came out. This was a wild change for both of these cars. The Cougar previously had been based on the Mustang platform, and the T-Bird had gone through all these iterations. We're actually going to talk about the T-Bird again a second time, but as we got into the 70s and everything had kind of switched up, this platform became more of a personal luxury vehicle. When they built this car, it was designed directly to compete with the Monte Carlos and Grand Prix that were out there, and it was really designed to be a different car for a different buyer than what they had previously. You know, the Mustangs had grown at this point in time as well. The Mustang was a much larger car, obviously from 70 to 73. But what you'd find on these cars is it was designed to give decent performance. You could get the 351, you could get a 400. The 351 was with a heavy car, and some of the emissions pieces was a little slow at 11 seconds to 60. While if you got the 400 with a 2-barrel, you'd be around 9 seconds. These cars today sell for around $15,000. You can find them pretty readily, and they're kind of a unique, fun style. I like these cars quite a bit. If I were looking to get something like this, it is similar to what you'd find from the Lincoln Mark series of that time. But I think these tend to be a little more unique. You don't see them as often. If you can find a really nice XR7, I would probably grab that up. I just think it's a fun car. I think you're going to enjoy it. You're going to go out and get that V8 feeling. You're also going to get horrific gas mileage. You're going to get like 10, 12 miles to the gallon on the highway and less in the city. So understand that if you're going to go drive this car for fun, you're not going to get a lot of great gas mileage, but you will have some fun in the car. It'll be something wildly different. You'll enjoy it. So I think this is one that's a great value on the list that you can go out and still find and enjoy the collector car hobby. On our list. Number 9 is going to be the 1965 to 1970 Chevy Impala, the non-SS models. You can get these right now for about $18,000. They came with a wide variety of motors in that time, from the 6-cylinders to the 327s, all the way up to the 396 and 454s, because this was the next size up from the Chevelles. They didn't have that same limitation that that Chevy had with the intermediate cars, so you could get the bigger motor in these. These were wildly popular. They sold a ton of them, but if you're looking for that 65 to 70 two-door non-SS, fairly small motor, 327, 350. You can find these for around $18,000 in pretty nice shape. Beautiful style. I like these cars quite a bit. They're not as popular as the 60 through 64s, and they don't demand the same crazy money that the late 50s cars did. Those cars are absolutely stunning. I put that on my most beautiful American cars list. I think those cars are gorgeous. While these cars aren't quite as good looking, they're still a good looking car. You will still get attention at a Cars and Coffee or a car show. You'll have a lot of fun with them. And it's a nice, big, comfortable car. It's a great cruiser. You can get on the highway, go out and enjoy it. So this is something I would recommend. I think you would enjoy this car a ton. So this is one of those ones on there. I think it's something that's a little unique and different. It's not as desirable as the earlier models, but I think people will still love to see them, and you'll enjoy the heck out of it. So we'll jump on to our next car on the list. Well, number 8 on our list is going to be our only import that we have in here. But this is a fun car, and I don't think it gets enough love. I know the next generation of these cars are wildly popular and sell for crazy money. But if you love that JDM scene and you want to do something a little different, you want to have something that's kind of fun, I hit on the $10,000 video. You could get like a 350Z or, a RX-8. But I'm going back now to the 86 to 92 Toyota Supra. These are going for about $20,000. In the turbo models, you can actually find them. There are two iterations of it. You can do the non-turbo, which is about 200 horsepower with a 6-cylinder, or you can do the turbo, which is about 230, 235 horsepower with a 6-cylinder. I think this is a better looking car than the next gen. I know everyone loves the next gen, in the Fast and the Furious movies and that iconic style, and those sell for huge money. A low mileage turbo unmodified next gen of this car will sell for $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. Where you can pick up a turbo of this, with relatively high mileage. Now, this is the benefit of buying a Toyota. We know the reliability. These cars are pretty bulletproof, have a really robust transmission. The engines, last for a long time. So if they haven't been modded to hell and put way too much horsepower on them, this car should last you quite a long time. Again, something you're not going to see every day. I think it stands out when I see one at a show. It's a lot of fun. It drives nice, looks cool, and if you want to do something a little different from a small block V8 that you're going to find in most of these cars here, I think these Supras are a heck of a great option for you. Our number 7 car on the list is going to be a car that is super underpowered. Probably not has a lot of love on here, but it's a car I always liked, and I actually shared one at a Mustang video last year. I just think they're cool looking. I like the style. I fell in love with them as a kid watching them on the TV show Hunter, and it's going to be the 84 to 93 Dodge Daytonas. You can get a Turbo Z 86 for like $12,000 or $13,000. You can find some of the newer models with the turbos in that $17,000, $18,000 range, and you can still find Shelby Daytonas for 20 grand. So you can find something a little unique and different. Now, here's the deal on this car. It's not the best car in the world. It's not the best handling. I think the style's cool on it. I think it looks aggressive for the time, but it is a 4-cylinder front-wheel drive car. So from like a driving dynamic standpoint, it's not going to be the most dynamic car, but it is going to be fun. It looks the part. I like the car quite a bit. I think they actually look great. If you bought the first gen turbo, like if you bought like an 86 Daytona Turbo Z, you were getting like 140 horsepower. If you bought the non-turbo versions, you had 100 horsepower. So talk about an anemic car that wasn't going to blow anybody away. But when you get into the later model turbos, you'd be at 175, 180 horsepower. And again, you can get them for not a lot of money. Again, something different that you don't see all the time. This car to me reminds me, I've always wanted like an 87 or 88 Mitsubishi Starion or Chrysler Conquest, but they're so hard to find, where you can get more of the Daytonas. You get a similar style. It is a lot of fun. Again, so this is going to be one of the newer cars we have on the list, along with that Supra. I think they're both fun. I think they give you a great option for 80s cars that aren't the standard IROC, Fox Body, Trans Am, Firebird, that just look different. They're a different style. They're fun. They're fast enough. Right, we'll use that. They're fast enough. They're not fast, but they're fast enough. And I think you would stand out and have a heck of a lot of fun with either one of those cars. Number 6 is going to be a car that didn't get a lot of love until recently. It's going to be the 1970 to 1975 Ford Maverick. These cars, for whatever reason, were really undervalued for a long time, and now, especially the grabber models are starting to come up in value. You can still get one of these with a 6-cylinder. You can get one well under $10,000. You can get a 4-door for $5,000 or $6,000. What I'm focusing on right now is the 2-door model, specifically the grabber with the 302. So that 71, 72, 73. 72, 73, you get the special domed hood. It looked a little different. You got the great graphics package, the larger wheels. It handled a little bit better. It was like a value Mustang. It was fun. It was quick enough. These are near and dear to my heart because we actually had a bunch of these as a kid. We actually ended up with a 72 grabber that we didn't know was worth anything. It ended up getting rear-ended when it was parked, and we got a bunch of money, for an insurance claim. Again, back then, a bunch of money. It was probably $2,000. But, it wasn't what we were expecting the car to be worth. And I remember my mom getting rear-ended in a 4-door one of these, and it did pretty good amount of damage to the car, but it lasted quite a bit longer. So now these, like I said, have become desirable because everything is so expensive in that 70s range that this is something that's kind of cool, compact. You get the V8 motor, sounds good. You can throw a 4-barrel on it. It's fairly quick. And you can get them all day for, like I said, 13 to 15 grand, even with a grabber. So this is one I grab up soon because I think the prices are going to continue to go up. But this is a fun car I think you'll enjoy without breaking the bank. So number 5 on our list is going to be kind of strange, right? Because I'm actually covering a bunch of different versions of the Thunderbird. From like 61 to 65, it actually changed body style quite a bit. There were different motors. There were different interiors. That's when cars changed a lot. They changed the style and the frequency of model changes
regularly back then. It's not like what you find with newer cars. But for whatever reason, that 1961 to 65 Thunderbird just hasn't found the same love. I'm not going to go super deep into all the different models, only because they're all so varying and different with different engine levels. You know, you can get a smaller V8, you get up to a 390. Some of these were designed more for personal luxury and comfort, kind of like we talked about with like the 72 to 76 T-Bird and Cougars. They were morphing into something different than the sports car they had been in the early to mid to late 50s with that 55, 56, and 57. Now it was more about comfort, style, and these cars are great. You can find different versions. The reason I put all of them in there is because when I talk to different people, everybody loves a different version of this car. But I think the Thunderbirds are wildly underpriced. Even as you get into like the 80s and 90s with like the turbo and super coupes, those are all great cars as well. But specifically in these cars, you can get a heck of a deal from, 15, 16 grand, all up to a really nice version of one of these for like 20 grand with big V8 power. Sounds great, awesome cruiser. So definitely something to take a look at if you're looking for something a little unique and understand that there's all these different variations. But you will show up with a fairly decent contingency at most shows with the Thunderbirds, but they're all over the place, and most of the love goes to the 50s cars. So you'll show up with something a little bit unique. Okay, our next car on the list is very similar to the Maverick. So this is number 4, and we're going to talk about the 70 to 72 Dodge Dart specifically. These cars were out for a long time. They didn't change style a ton, but for whatever reason, the 70 to 72 tends as the biggest following when you get into the Dart community. And these cars right now, if you get one with like a 318, you can get one for like 17 grand. And I saw quite a few as I was looking online to find some different versions. You can get a 4-speed. You can get the automatic, obviously. But what I always loved about the Dodge cars was they always had great style. So if you're buying one of these cars, you can get something that looks amazing, has a great style, great color. Dodge had all those really cool high-impact colors. And, you throw a set of wheels on the car. These look great with a set of, Krager SS's or an old set of Keystones, maybe a new set of American Racing wheels. But they look great with all these modern wheels. And it takes it from that kind of grocery getter that you'd have in the 70s to something a little bit more fun and exciting. And the other cool thing with this car is, you can get one cheaper with, like I said, with the same with the Maverick, with a 4-door and a 6-cylinder, you can get one for under 10 grand all day and have something you can just go to the show, enjoy, not worry about. Sometimes having a car that doesn't have a lot of power and it doesn't kill you on the gas mileage is even more fun because you can take full advantage of what the car can do versus having a V8 that maybe you can't get into it as much. Now, a 318 in this car isn't going to be particularly fast. You're going to be 0 to 60 in about 10 seconds. You can obviously put an exhaust and some headers and throw a bigger carb on it and open it up a little bit. But from the factory, you're not going to get a ton of power out of it. But it is quite a bit of fun, and you'll enjoy it quite a bit. Number 3 on our list. GM's about to get some love with all of our top 3. So number 3 on our list is 1975 to 1979 Chevy Nova. The reason I put this car in here is people love the 70 to 74. I do too. You got the 350s, you get the SS's. They were really cool. But in 75 to 79, this car actually sold really well, and it was really reviewed really well. They were going after a more European style, so the car was a little bit more sophisticated than what you'd have previously. You could still get a 305 or a 350 in it. Obviously, the same thing like we talked about in the other cars. There was a 4-door available with a 6-cylinder. Those cars are transportation still. You can get one for 5, 6, 7 grand. But if you want to get a nice one, you can get a nice 75 to 79 with a 350, 2-door, for about 13 to 15 grand. These cars, I think, look cool. And the same thing like we just talked about with the Dart. If you throw a nice set of wheels on this, like a 76 with a set of Krager SS's with the 350 is a really good-looking car that will stand out at a show. You'll have fun with it. You're not breaking the bank. Again, you're not going to get the same love as a 72 SS, but you're not going to demand the same premium. And you're getting a lot of the same style, a little bit less performance because you obviously had a lot of the smog emission stuff by the mid and late 70s. But still a car I think you would enjoy, something that would show up really well, something you'd have a bunch of fun with, and something, again, that's a little different because you're going to find a lot more of those 70 to 74s where the 75 to 79s were kind of used up as transportation and not given as much love. All right, one of my favorite cars of all time, and it's so crazy to say because it's a front-wheel drive, big, luxury yacht, land yacht that came out in the late 60s, but I absolutely love the style on the 67 through 70 Eldorados. These cars were big, they were front drive, they looked awesome. The first 2 years had the hideaway headlights. By the last year, you had the giant 500 cubic inch motor. Like, this car was an awesome car. It was not a great performance car. It did get kudos back in its time because it actually performed better than it was expected, especially from a front drive car. So it was a nice cruiser, had slightly better than expected performance. It also sold incredibly well. This car was like $6,000 new, and if you added options, you added like 30% onto the price of the car, so you were like $7,500. And these sold like 13,000 cars in its first couple of years, right? Each year. This car sold well. It looked great. I love the style on it. My favorite version of is the 68 with the Cadillac hubcaps. I think the car is gorgeous. I think if you get one of these, again, not as common as some of the other cars. The front drive cars like this and the Toronado don't get the same amount of love, but I think they're incredible. I love what they brought from a technology play. I think they look great. They're fun cars to drive. They have plenty of power. You're going to pass everything but a gas station, right? Because that's going to kill you. But they're fun. They're quick. They look great. They're different. You will show up. You'll have one of the few at a show. So I think if you're looking for a cool old luxury cruiser, this is the way to go, and this is the one that I would buy. All right, guys, our number one car on our list today for a best value for $20,000 or less is going to be the C3 Corvettes from 1975 to 1979. These cars you can get right now from anywhere from $12,000 to $17,000 in really, really nice shape. If you get one with a little bit high mileage, it's a little beat up, you can get under 10 grand. Here's the downside to these cars. These were like the dog days of Corvette, and they're probably the worst performance Corvette since the original C1 with the Blue Flame 6. They're not particularly fast. They did handle very well. They were good-looking cars, but they didn't have a lot of storage. Like, there was a lot of compromises in this car based on emission restrictions. And you had two motor options. You had the L48, which was 180 horsepower, 185 horsepower, 8 seconds to 60, 16-second quarter mile times. Now, you could get the big motor, which was also a 350, which was the L82, and then you'd knock about a second off your 0 to 60 time, and the same thing, about a second off your quarter mile time. You'd be in the high 14s, low 15s with the L82. You'll spend a little more money for those cars. Here's what you're buying with this car, though. It's fast enough. It's fun enough. It looks amazing. I think, again, that Stingray is beautiful. Now, when you got into like the 80s to the 82s, you got the wider fenders. You got the more aggressive look, the mag wheels. This was kind of like that last iteration where you'd have the Rally Sport wheels with the trim ring in the center cap. You didn't have the hatchback in these cars. So it was compromised in quite a bit of ways, but it was also really good looking. And it really epitomized the 70s style. It was really definitely, style of, form over function, where it wasn't fast. It wasn't the best handling car in the world, but it looked awesome. It was a great style. If you get one of like a grab, it wasn't a Ford, I guess it's a Ford color, but like one of those grabber oranges or whatever Chevy called that orange color, I think it's stunning. I still love them when I see them. And look, any C3 that shows up at a show, I love. The difference is if you buy like the 80s to 82s, you spend a little more money. And if you get into like the steel bumper cars, you're spending way, way more money. So if you want to get into one of these, again, relatively cheap, have some fun with it. You can drive something, enjoy the heck out of it. Throw some miles on it. You don't have to worry about it. You're not going to devalue the car. There are some issues you run into, like some of the vacuum pumps for the headlights can be a pain in the butt. It is carbureted, so you got to deal with a little bit of that. But again, still a fun, quick enough car. Looks great. You'll show up if it's in good shape. People will love it. Come take pictures with it. It just brings you back to a different time and style.
Fox Body Phantom, that's our list. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this is helpful. Throw some notes down in the comments for us. We want to continue to add great videos for you. We're getting close to the new season. I have a lot of information coming up for you soon on the car show scene. There's a lot going on this year. I'm going to share some stuff on a couple of cars that I've owned previously that I really enjoyed that I would recommend for everybody. We're going to do a video soon on the best car to buy for $50,000 or less if you're looking for an amazing muscle car that you can go win shows with and have a lot of fun. So that's going to come up soon, so look for that video. Thank you for checking out our channel. Like I asked at the beginning, if you haven't hit subscribe so far, please do so. We're almost at 300 subscribers. My goal this year is to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers. I need your help to do that, so if you like this video, if you have fun on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button so more people can check out the videos. We appreciate you checking us out. We'll talk to you real soon. Thanks.